Baldur's Gate 3 is a very impressive, very captivating gaming experience, and that's why I wanted to make this video. To talk about how much love was put into this game, specifically with its detailed characters, the unique combats, and above all, I wanted to talk about why Baldur's Gate 3 has quickly risen to one of my favorite games of all time. The story of Baldur's Gate 3 centers on your character as they are infected with a Mind Flayer parasite. Mind Flayers are these creatures, all with purple skin and 4 tentacles sprouting from their mouths. Mind Flayers infect people with these tadpoles with the intention of turning their victims into Mind Flayers themselves, all succumbing to the hive mind. That, in this case, is called the Absolute. And despite individuals turning rather quickly, you have not. And that's where our story begins. Also, just a side note, as this video goes on, I'm going to be showcasing a lot of screenshots and clips that I took throughout the game, so I might just put their name down in the corner in case you're curious, you want to know more about them. Comment, be like, wow, this guy looks so cool. As you escape the Mind Flayers and begin to roam around, you are very likely going to meet the companion characters, most of whom are similarly infected. You can play your story as some of these characters instead of making your own, but I'm going to assume most people made their own characters. You can invite these companions to join you, you can cast them aside, you can even go on a full-on murder spree and kill them all. But the characters really shine when you get to see them up close, when you get to experience their stories alongside your own. Not only is that an element invaluable to the tabletop version of D&D, but it really excels in Baldur's Gate 3. But character stories are a feature in almost all role-playing video games, so what makes these specific stories so special? Nearly all of the 10 companions that you can recruit have their own quests relevant to them, a story that can unravel in many ways, and some of them are even romanceable, meaning they have some unique interactions based on if you are partnered with them or not. In my first run of the game, I romanced Lae'zel, a warrior from the Githyanki race whose main goal is to rid herself from this infection. She comes off as rude and abrasive and a bit headstrong early in the game. The Githyanki as a whole are said to be violent, and they have the primary mission of killing every Mind Flayer. I also was a Githyanki. I was a paladin named Roth, with an oath to protect the essence of life or something. You create a Dream Guardian alongside your player character, and eventually they show up and tell you they are the reason you have not turned into a Mind Flayer yet. They currently reside in this strange artifact you have, and it's up to you if you want to trust them or not. It becomes even more strange when they tell you that you should use the tadpole's powers. Near the end of Act 1, you finally are able to find the Githyanki Creche. It's a place full of Githyanki that Lae'zel has mentioned since one of your first meetings. They are apparently able to purify any one of these Mind Flayer infections, and it's very useful for them to study these things. But that's not the case. Roth was the first one to step into their purification machine, and after many high dice rolls that challenge your will to stay in the machine, it instead explodes. Your Dream Guardian has caused this, and says that the Githyanki use this device and harvest your tadpole for research. And the Guardian is very quickly proven right, as the whole Creche starts trying to absolutely end you. And as we reached the depths of this Githyanki outpost, we met the leader of this place. And then we met our actual Githyanki goddess? The Lich Queen Vlaakith arrives and demands that we enter the artifact that we carry and kill our Dream Guardian. And I'm gonna be honest, I did. I killed the Dream Guardian, the person who was protecting us from this infection, the person Lae'zel and I have sworn not to trust. The Dream Guardian holds out a sword for you and tells you, if you want to, you can kill them. And Roth stabbed them with their own sword. There was no fight. But your Dream Guardian lives, And they warn you not only of how dangerous not trusting them would be, but also that Vlaakith, despite you doing what she asked, now commands the remaining Githyanki at the creche to kill you. I'm gonna be honest here, that sucked. This was my first time ever playing a Githyanki. I already don't have much experience as a player in D&D or tabletop games, and I had only learned about the Githyanki lore from this great video from Pointy Hat talking about them. You should probably go check that out after this one. It's a really good video. But learning about how they were slaves to mind flayers before revolting and waging war against their captors, that was awesome. And then the queen that commands that army wishes you dead. That's it. She turns against you because she never cared about you or your group, and she is operating off her own motives. And at the time in the game, we only knew the half of it. Lae'zel begins to spiral after this. She still does not want to renounce our god after Vlaakith wanted to sacrifice us for some secret mission of her own. But Roth, on the other hand, has now become a certified hater of all deities. He's like hell-bent on slaying any god who dare cross him. And that's what makes these characters so worth investing your time in. Lae'zel is forced to watch as the thing she cares about most, the center of her childhood, and the framework for her entire life, it's now shattered. Gone. Another favorite moment of mine that I experienced recently in-game was the culmination of the Dark Urge story. The Dark Urge is a custom character that you can make, but they are stuck facing a fight against their own violent nature. And eventually, you find out that your character is a child of the Lord of Murder, a god by the name of Bhaal. You would have heard his voice in the intro to this video, but basically, this story's finale takes place in the Temple of Bhaal, hidden deep in the sewers of Baldur's Gate, where you fight your character's sister, known as Orin the Red. She's psychotic and evil, and in a good playthrough, this moment is awe-inspiring. My girlfriend's Dark Urge character, Mafalda, had such a cool moment fighting back against Orin and renouncing her father to become her own person. That's cool. And also, in her character's playlist, she put Can't Catch Me Now by Olivia Rodrigo, and that's even cooler. But here's the thing. You don't have to be the good guy. Seldvin, my Dark Urge character, was evil to his core. I never thought of him as evil incarnate or anything. I always saw him as a tortured soul, someone who hurt others because it's all he knew, and he didn't realize how far he strayed until it was way too late. He swore his life away to Bhaal, now walking down the path that would leave everyone dead. Minthara, Astarion, Gale. Lae'zel died at Orin's hands already, and now, under Seldvin's rule, everyone else would too. But that's where my favorite moment comes in. See, if you keep Jaheira alive, and also save Minsc, they will know if you become Bhaal's chosen spawn, and they confront you in the Temple of Bhaal, a place where they've confronted Bhaal spawn before you.
We stand here again to show you how it ends.
And they probably would kill more after you're gone, if it weren't you. I'll let some of the video play, but genuinely, this whole fight against Jaheira, Minsc, and their allies is devastating. I cast Flesh to Stone on Minsc so he couldn't do anything for the fight, and Jaheira died in front of him. It's so sad and tragic, and it like actually broke my heart. And finally, in our first playthrough of Baldur's Gate 3, we didn't really use Karlach that much, because Stormy was already playing a barbarian. We didn't need to use two of them. And on a second playthrough, I completely regret not experiencing her story in our first campaign. But the first glimpse into what we had missed out on came right after Roth and Tav had defeated one of the Act 3 bosses. Lord Inver Gortash betrayed Karlach, sent her to the Hells, all to desperately cling on to what little power he already had. And she, rightfully so, wants him dead, wants to personally make him pay for what he did to her. And honestly, we forgot? So we had killed Gortash, and then brought her to where he was. And you watch as she feels the weight of her imminent death. Her engine that has replaced her heart is rapidly failing. And she has to come to terms with the fact that she would never get revenge on the person she trusted the most.
And you'll just keep going, won't you? Watching the stars, warming your hands on the campfire, dancing, eating, making fucking love all night. All of it, all of it! That's my reward for everything I suffered. That's why I survived 10 years of torment. The fighting, the clawing, the loneliness, the fucking loneliness. All of it so I could rot. Because the person I trusted the most gave me away to the devil. It isn't fair. I don't want it like this.
And I felt bad. I felt horrible. We could have just let her kill Gortash, and we didn't. And she seemed to forgive us by the end of the game, but we did the worst thing we could have to her. An all too familiar feeling. We betrayed her. That's a big part of why I titled this video what I did. Lae'zel's abandonment, Karlach's fear, Minsc and Jaheira's unwavering hope. It's all just sad and desolate and cold. And that's what makes me love Baldur's Gate 3. And probably gonna be the greatest game of the 2020s. It'll at least be top 5. Anyways, thank you for listening. I appreciate it if you made it this far. There's so much stuff that I cut from this video. Things like how Roth's Dream Guardian is my girlfriend's Tav. I thought that was cool. There were cool ways of settling combats that I wanted to talk about. Mods broke my game for like weeks, so that's why this video was on hold for a bit. I didn't even talk about Astarion. But yeah, let me know if you want to see any more videos like this, whether it's about Baldur's Gate 3 or just video essays about games, and subscribe. Did the little button at the bottom light up? I don't know if people know that. The subscribe button lights up at the bottom. Subscribe. Okay, bye.
Hell, hell, hell has its laws. Hell, hell, effect in the cause. Curtain falls, but hold your applause. Squirm, squirm, for now down here come the claws.